Hey, what's going on, you guys? So we're here for episode 3 of our trainer talk. I'm Taylor Hutchinson.
I'm Bethany Granovich.
And today we're going to be talking about the 3 pillars of fitness that are essential for reaching your goals and keeping them. So obviously it's one thing to achieve your goals and get where you want to be, but it's a whole other thing to maintain that and sustain it for the rest of your life. And the 3 things that you have to have and incorporate into your lifestyle are fitness, nutrition, and accountability. And what we're gonna do today is kind of break each one down and give you guys some tips and tricks on how to start implementing these into your daily lifestyle. And hopefully it'll help you start to make the right direction, or get into the right direction on reaching your goals and keeping those goals forever. So this is exactly what we teach all of our clients and members here that are doing our classes and getting our coaching. Obviously, you're going to need to incorporate some kind of fitness regimen. So we usually have people work out at least 2 to 3 days a week, and that's going to be like resistance type training. So whether that's body weight like push-ups, squats, sit-ups, burpees, stuff like that at home, you want to make sure you're trying to work the muscle groups, so some form of resistance training, or if you can make it into the gym and lift some weights or join a class, that would be excellent. But all you really need is 2 to 3 days, and it doesn't have to take long either. Most of our classes are only 30 to 45 minutes long, so they do not take long at all. And then on the other days, so if there's 2 or 3 days on opposite days of your workout days, so if you're coming to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you want to do like go for a walk or go for a run. Maybe just do a body weight circuit at home, just a little bit of general exercise or activity. That would be perfect. But I just want to let you guys know, like, you don't have to set aside an hour or 2 every single day to get your workout in. You can get it done in 10 to 15 minutes if you're doing an at-home circuit, or coming in and doing our classes. Like I said, they're only 30 to 45 minutes. So that's kind of like the overview of the fitness side of it. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Bethany?
Just one thing to add with that, you want to make sure that you're constantly challenging your muscles in your body. If you keep lifting the same weight for the same amount of reps, eventually your muscles aren't going to grow anymore. You're not going to get any stronger because you're not challenging your body. So what that's called is progressive overload. It's basically just either adding weight or adding reps over time, so that way your body can adapt and get stronger. And then another important piece is, if you do end up doing strength training and then you wanted to do something like cardio, the best advice is to do your cardio after you strength train, because you want your muscles to have the most energy for strength training, whether that's just body weight or that's with weights. You want to make sure that they are fresh and you have the most energy in at that point. And then afterwards, a good recommendation is anywhere from like 30 minutes of like light cardio, or you can do like 10 minutes of some high intensity interval training. That would be very good if you're like on a short time, you have short time, or if you prefer like lower heart rate, just kind of like casual cardio, then the 30-minute low intensity like walking or biking, something like that, would also be really good.
Yeah, so it does not take very long, and she's talking about like progressing. So an example of that could be, if you want to start out this week by going for a 30-minute walk, maybe you do that for a week 3 times, maybe 2 weeks, and then after that you'd want to try to increase. Maybe I'm going to walk for 40 minutes, so I'm increasing the duration. If you don't have that extra time, maybe something else you do is, instead of increasing duration, maybe I'm just going to walk at a little bit faster rate. So I'm going to try to pick up my pace on the walk. Or maybe instead of going straight down the dirt road, you go somewhere that's got an incline, like you're going to walk up a hill and down a hill. So that's different ways to increase basically the overload of it. You're progressing in your training, making it a little bit harder. That's going to keep you seeing the results that you want to see. If you're lifting weights, good example of that, let's say I'm doing a squat with a weight. So maybe I'm going to start out with a 20-pound weight and I'm going to do 10 squats for 3 sets. Maybe I do that for a couple weeks, and then I can either go to a heavier weight, so maybe I'll grab a 30-pound dumbbell. That's going to increase the resistance. I could add a couple of reps with the same weight, or I could just add an extra set. So instead of doing 3 sets, I could do 4. Those are all examples of increasing the volume of your training to make sure that you're always making progress. Okay. Anything else with the fitness side, or you wanna?
Well, kind of just what we do. Even us, we follow a program. Like, we don't even make the programming. We could, but we like to follow a different program. Since we both do CrossFit, the people that run our programming know all the little minutia, like all the little details of how to progress and how to get better. And following a structured program is how you see the best results. That's crucial because you have the right progressions. You don't really have to worry about how much weight or reps. You just follow it and trust the process.
Exactly. Yep. I think we'll move on to the nutrition side of it. We'll kind of tie back into the program with the fitness in the end, because it kind of ties into two different pillars. But the next pillar is the nutrition. So just some kind of tips and tricks on this. Obviously, if you want to reach whatever your goal may be, if you want to gain muscle, lose body fat, you need to eat better foods and incorporate better nutrition. A lot of people think weight loss, and so I figured I'd touch on this a little bit. When it comes to weight loss, everybody has this idea that you have to just basically cut calories, which you will lose weight, but that's just because you're basically starving your body. But what's going to happen with that is it's actually going to slow down your metabolism. You're not going to have any energy. It's going to mess up with your hormones. You're going to have increased stress in the body. You're not going to be fueled. You're not going to sleep as good. So it's going to mess up a lot of things. And then if you ever go back to your old ways, you're going to actually gain more weight than you had lost. And that's what happens, and we see it all the time with clients and members that come here and say that they've done this or that diet, and they end up putting all the weight back on. And though that's kind of why that happens, is because you have to fuel your body. So one way to do that is just make sure that you're eating 3 or 4 meals a day. Make sure you're actually eating food. The biggest thing is just choosing whole foods, choosing better options. So try to limit how much added sugar you're getting. So try to stay away from the processed foods and the foods with a bunch of added sugar. So try to avoid going out to eat or going through fast food every single day. It's okay if you do it maybe once or twice a week, but try to go to the grocery store, shop the perimeter of the store, try to get whole foods. Typically the least amount of ingredients, the better. So if you're looking at a label in the middle of the aisles and it's got 64 ingredients and you can't pronounce 40 of them, probably not a good food. It's going to be filled with preservatives. Most likely your body won't even be able to recognize it as food, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. There's so many preservatives and added sugars and things like that, and it's so highly processed that your body doesn't even know it's food. So what's the point of actually eating it? The whole point of eating food is for fueling the body so that we have energy and our system's working right. So if you're eating things that aren't even recognized as food, you're just going to store it as body fat, and that's usually what happens. So basically, the big takeaways from that: try to eat more whole foods. So think of fresh vegetables, fruits, lean meats, nuts and seeds. Try to basically shop the perimeter of the store. Start looking at the labels. That's one thing that's very easy to do to start incorporating, is just look at the labels, see how much sugar things have, see how many ingredients they have in there. See if you can even pronounce the ingredients. If you can't, maybe try to find a better option. So that's just one kind of place to start. Anything else you'd like to add, Bethany?
Yeah, so you want to focus on adding in more good food instead of taking away the bad. Because once you think, oh, I have to cut out this, I can't eat this, then your mind goes into a state of restriction. And you're gonna want, and you're gonna think about all those different foods that you think you shouldn't be eating, you want to take out. So focus on adding in, okay, so instead of going to McDonald's getting a burger and fries, I'm going to make a wrap with chicken, or I'm gonna have chicken, rice, broccoli with some stir-fry sauce. Just something like that to add in. That way you're able to get more nutrients and your body actually gets the food that it wants and the food that it needs. And then another part of that is when you do eat fast food or any sort of greasy food, I know for myself I tend to feel bad after it, not mentally but physically feel bad. I get bloated and I just feel like I have less energy. And when you eat food, you should have energy. You shouldn't be bloated after a meal. So that's a good sign that like what quality your food is, how your body reacts to it. Your body shouldn't react to it as if it's like stress or toxins. Like it should react as if it's food and fuel for the body, rather than reacting, getting bloated, feeling less energy. You should feel energized after eating a meal. So that's a kind of a good sign of you're fueling your body correctly.
Exactly. And kind of one of the things that I do personally, you know, we aren't just people that hate, you know, junk food. Like we love junk food, but we realize the importance of eating whole foods. We are no different than you. You know, if I'm in a situation where there is a donut or cake or ice cream or whatever, like I'm going to probably eat that ice cream, donut, or cake, unless sometimes I can convince myself. I just have a talk with myself in my head. I just say, Taylor, if you have that, you're gonna enjoy the taste for a few seconds while you're eating it, but you're gonna feel like crap for the next few hours, maybe even the whole next day. So usually when you think about it in terms like that, like why are you actually eating the food? Like I'm gonna enjoy this for 15 minutes, but then I'm gonna regret it for the next day because it's gonna affect my body and my results. So if you can just change the way you think about eating and change your mindset, you can make much more reasonable decisions when it comes to your nutrition. So that's oftentimes what I'll do is I try to just stay on track as much as I possibly can. I'm convincing my body that I'm eating this healthy food because I know it's benefiting me, and I'm avoiding this unhealthy food because I don't want that effect on my body. And I want to feel good and not be drugged down and feel sluggish and things like that. And another thing, like what she said, to add in more food instead of take it away, that kind of goes back into play of like, you don't want to just cut out all your calories because it's going to slow everything down. You're not going to be able to operate and function properly. It's going to mess up your hormones. You're going to stress yourself out. So instead of trying to cut out, maybe if you drink 2 pops a day, instead of focusing on cutting out pop, maybe just say, I'm going to drink an extra bottle of water today instead of cutting out pop. Or if you're somebody that, eats fast food twice a day, maybe you're gonna make a 1 at-home meal. Or if you're somebody that doesn't eat any veggies, add in some vegetables, and then maybe you'll cut out some of the bad stuff eventually, kind of as a natural reaction to adding in more good stuff. You can usually kind of wean out the bad stuff. So hopefully that helps and that makes sense. The last pillar, this kind of ties together the first two, because quite frankly, we could give you the world's best fitness plan and the world's best nutrition plan, but if you didn't actually do it, you're not going to get the results. And we talk about this all the time. You need good accountability. So accountability is the third pillar, and it's essential for reaching your goal and maintaining your goals. So just some things that we do and we recommend is, like scheduling your workouts to hold yourself accountable. So before the week even starts, like pick out the days and the times and schedule it right in your calendar on your phone. I'm gonna work out at 8 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, and put it in there, and maybe even set a reminder to go off 30 minutes. And then that'll hold you a little bit more accountable to those workouts. For your nutrition, holding yourself accountable, maybe set aside the same thing. Set aside sometimes 2 days a week where you're gonna meal prep a bunch of chicken and vegetables and carbs, whatever you're making. Having those better choices, take an hour, 2 days a week to prep for 3 days, 4 days at a time. I know she does a lot of meal prepping. I do quite a bit of meal prepping. I usually grill a bunch of chicken at once, a bunch of broccoli or Brussels sprouts, whatever I'm having for that week. And that way I've got those options, and that's gonna hold me more accountable to the healthier nutrition, and it will keep me from grabbing, going through the drive-thru or something like that. Not that I've done that in the last 7 years, but you know what I mean? It just kind of helps you not want to go for the worst decisions when it comes to the nutrition side. Something else that's a really big one, and a lot of people don't do this, is figure out what your why is. Like, why do you actually want to get in better shape? Like, why do you want to become healthier? If you can figure out your why and the deep meaning behind it, it usually can motivate you every single day to strive toward that. Like, I want to live a long, healthy life, but I also want to be the best version of myself I can be. I want to be the fittest tailor that I can be. So I dedicate myself to working out every day. I'm very passionate about CrossFit, so I want to be the best CrossFitter I can be. I want to, live my life without diseases, without coming to a point to where I can't get up and walk around on my own. Like if I have kids and grandkids in the future, I want to be there for them and be able to play with them. That is why I take care of myself, and that's why I eat good, and that's why we work out. So if you can dig down and find those reasons, then that will motivate you and hold you accountable of itself. Another thing, having a partner. So like working out with somebody, or have somebody check in with you and hold you accountable. That will really, really help you stay on track. And then another tip that I would give you is to just maybe track your results, like schedule a weigh-in, like weigh in every week, take pictures every 2 weeks. These are things that we do with our coaching clients. So we actually schedule bi-weekly photos, we schedule their weigh-ins, and then every month we do their body fat percentage and their measurements, and we track their progress. Because once you start to see a little bit of progress, it's like a snowball effect. You just keep going and going and going, you get better results. Next thing you know, you've reached your goal, and then you've learned all the habits along the way, and then you never have to restart again. So that's kind of my section on accountability. I'm sure Bethany has some other things to add, so I'll let her kind of share.
Yeah, so with the accountability partner, someone to work out with, they don't even have to be someone that comes and does those things with you. You could just have someone that you share your goals with, share your why, talk to them about what you're doing, or kind of tell them what your wins are, like what you've been doing good, because we can be our own worst critic. Like I do that myself. Our brains are actually wired to remember negative things more than positive. Like it takes 10 positive things to outweigh one negative.
Yep.
Like that's the way one negative comment on a post can derail some people, or like just having one bad meal in a week makes you feel like, oh, like I'm not doing this whole diet thing, I'm not following my plan, or missing a workout or something like that. It's hard to almost get out of your own head and see yourself from others' perspectives. So having someone else there looking and saying, hey, you're looking awesome, like what are you doing? Getting all of that external feedback. And also with having the pictures, it's not just you looking at yourself in the mirror every day or looking at the scale and seeing it fluctuate, but then you don't see how it's decreasing over time, because our weight does fluctuate day to day, and it's affected by so many different factors that we can't always just pay attention to that.
Yep.
So that's why it's helpful to have someone else, as your support system, being like, hey, you've been doing awesome, you're meal prepping, you're doing so many good things, you don't have to be perfect to see results. That's the huge thing that, a lot of people think they have to be perfect, their diet has to be perfect, you have to work out X amount of days a week and do this many steps a day. You don't have to be perfect all the time, you just have to be consistent. That's the huge part, is being consistent and doing it for a long enough time, and then you will see results that way.
Yep, exactly. And I love that you said, people focus on the things that go wrong and not the things that go right. So when you think about a week, 7 days, you typically eat 3 meals a day. That's 21 meals. And people usually will completely destroy themselves because they went out and had pizza. Oh no, it's the end of the world. It's that's one meal out of 21 meals. If you think that one meal is going to outweigh all those other meals, you're completely wrong. It's okay. You can enjoy yourself every once in a while. Focus on, instead of saying, I didn't do this right, think about, I did all of these things right. If you missed a workout, but you still completed 3 other ones, you only missed 1 out of 4. That's still okay. So just try to focus more on the wins. And what you can also do is treat those meals where you do go out and have a cheat meal or something, treat that as a reward. I like saying that all the time to my clients is, if you're doing good during the week, if you get your 2 or 3 workouts in, if you eat your, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 healthy meals every day, enjoy yourself on the weekend and use that as reward for your work, your hard work, your dedication, your commitment, and then get back on track the next day. It's as simple as that. It helps keep you sustainable. I would also like to add, for myself, when I began working out, we both didn't just, weren't born fit. We weren't born into fitness. I didn't start working out at all until I was about 16 years old, and I was 6'1", 140 pounds. I was a twig. And I was just unhappy with myself and I wanted to change. So I started working out. And looking back, now it's been 11 years since I started working out, and a bunch of my friends, I've had a million different workout partners since, and a bunch of my friends were genetically more gifted than me. And they could have been twice as strong, twice as big, way fitter than me. But when I look at all of the people that I've worked out with, not all of them, but most of them, the biggest thing that I had on them was the consistency. I never ever gave up. Like, I've had my ups and downs. I still eat junk food. Like, I am not perfect. Like she said, you don't have to be perfect. But I've kind of kept my nutrition in check for the last 11 years. I've worked out at least 3 or 4 days a week for the last 11 years. And now I'm considered one of the fittest people in our town, and I run a gym and I'm a personal trainer, and I love what I do because I stayed consistent. And so that's all you have to really do, is just find what works for you, try to put in as much effort as you can, and stay consistent with it, and the results will come. Trust me. Anything else?
Maybe there's one thing with the eating out and treating yourself. I like to do it as a social thing, because for a lot of people, food is very social. There's emotions attached to, okay, your grandma bakes the best apple pie, and you want to indulge on that. That's your indulgence. You don't want to say no, because it's not just the food, it's the emotion behind it. So realizing that you can have emotions around food, but most of the time you want to look at it as fuel. You can't give in to your emotions all the time. But when you're with family, you're with friends, you're going out on date night, that's one day out of the week, or maybe a couple times a year for Thanksgiving and Christmas. 1 or 2, 3 days out of a couple months, that's not going to totally derail your progress if you're consistent the rest of the time. Right. So it's important to have those social interactions with food, but then also realize that it's important to stay track and fuel your body for your goals.
Yep, exactly. And hopefully these things will help you guys start to implement some of this. Maybe you'll start exercising a little bit, maybe you'll start eating better, shopping better, maybe find a partner to start working out with, or maybe just share your goals with your spouse or your kids or your mom or dad. But if you don't have any idea of where to start with any of these 3 pillars, we coach clients, and we've built a proven system built around fitness, nutrition, and accountability. And we've coached literally hundreds of people through a program like this and incorporating these into their lifestyle. And we've had thousands and thousands of pounds lost. We've transformed people's lives, so we know how to do it. So if you need that kind of help and guidance, if you want that accountability, if you want a solid nutrition plan to start implementing into your life, if you want a solid exercise routine and workout regimen to start implementing, feel free to reach out to us. I'll include a link below that takes you to a page with more information on our coaching programs, bunch of testimonials of our clients that have gone through this coaching program, and then feel free to schedule a call. The only thing you have to lose is maybe 15-minute call, but you could literally have everything to gain. You could change your life by just taking 15 minutes to schedule a call with us and figuring out what the best option for you is. Maybe it's not the right option, but maybe it is, and maybe it can change your life. So we'll end with that. Hopefully this helps you guys. Start implementing some of these. Again, the 3 pillars of fitness. If you want to truly reach your goals, you have to start incorporating fitness, nutrition, and accountability, and then being able to maintain those for a lifetime. So until next time, have a great day. Stay healthy.